Forbidden Hearts. Chapter 1, The Proposal. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the estate where the Kingsley brothers wearily trudged. Ethan, the older brother with an air of responsibility, sighed as he pulled into the driveway beside his brother Cole's sleek black car. They had an understanding, two loyal brothers bound by familial ties, but also by an unspoken thirst for something more than mundane lives filled with work and responsibilities. Ethan knocked on the door as the night air grew cooler and autumn leaves rustled softly. It swung open instantly to reveal Hannah, Cole's wife. Her eyes sparkled, radiating warmth and undeniable beauty. Ethan could see hints of fatigue around her lovely features. "Hey, Ethan," she said softly, stepping aside to let him in. "Hi, Hannah," he replied, offering a charming grin. Cole emerged from the kitchen, beer in hand, his hair tousled as if he'd just rolled out of bed. "You're just in time, brother. Let's spice things up this weekend," he said, his voice heavy with mischief. Ethan raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "I was thinking we could swap wives for a couple of days. Change things up a little, you know?" Ethan felt a ripple of discomfort. "Swap wives? You can't be serious." "Why not? Think of it as a secret getaway. Hannah, you'll get a break from the mundanity of this place, and Ethan, well, he could use some excitement in his life too," Cole said with a laugh that felt too loud and too insistent. Ethan's heart pounded at the insinuation. He couldn't deny the thrill churning in his stomach at the thought, but he also felt like he was teetering on the edge of a dangerous precipice. "Are you sure about this, Hannah?" She cocked her head thoughtfully, considering the proposition. "It could be fun, Ethan. Just a weekend of harmless adventure, right?" The idea lingered, intoxicating and dangerous. One sip of temptation could turn fatal. But the prospect of escaping their ordinary lives danced tantalizingly in the back of Ethan's mind. It was so reckless, it was so exhilarating. Chapter 2, A Weekend of Mischief. As Friday rolled around, Ethan found himself at Cole's house, ready to embrace the chaos. The plan was simple, 2 nights filled with wild, carefree moments away from their responsibilities. The brothers had set the rules, no attachments, no jealousy, it was all in good fun. Hannah approached Ethan with a mischievous smile and a light laugh. "Ready for this adventure?" "Ready as I'll ever be," he replied cautiously. The night began with laughter, a touch of wine, and a sense of exhilaration that hung thick in the air. They started in the backyard, their laughter mingling with the night sounds. As the evening wore on, surrounded by glasses of fine wine and flickering candles, Ethan began to see Hannah in a different light. He'd always appreciated her warmth, but tonight, there was something different in her eyes. Freedom and responsibility tangled in the air, and for the first time, he felt a magnetic pull towards her that he couldn't shake off. As the night unfolded into a whimsical adventure, the lines between brothers began to blur. Ethan took Hannah on an impromptu midnight stroll through the nearby woods, their footsteps crunching through the fallen leaves. He found himself whispering secrets, sharing dreams from years gone by, revealing parts of himself that remained hidden beneath the duties of brotherhood and maturity. The connection deepened. Hannah laughed like a carefree girl again, as lightheartedness smothered the weight of their lives. Underneath the stars, with cold air whispering through the trees, their energies intertwined unpredictably. Ethan's heart raced. They were two souls, both desperately longing to escape their realities, ignited by the allure of one night's stolen freedom. Chapter 3, Temptation and Desire. By late Saturday night, the chemistry between Ethan and Hannah sizzled like wildfire. Their conversations turned intimate. They shared their fears, insecurities, and eventually dreams filled with passion and longing, hushed because society deemed them forbidden. The tension between them was intoxicating. "Ethan, what if this isn't just a fling?" Hannah said softly, her gaze fixed on the glass of wine in her hand, but Ethan could see the tumult behind her lovely eyes. "Then we won't let it be," he murmured, though the words felt like a promise he hadn't thought through. The air turned electric, charged with inexplicable emotions. As if something invisible drew them closer, they ignited the furnace of attraction between them. At that moment, their hearts whispered their desires, testifying to the truth twisting in their chests, the exhilarating fall into the forbidden. "Just this once," Hannah said, bringing his hand to her cheek. The warmth of her skin ignited something within him, something primal and fierce. And without thinking, Ethan captured her lips with his, igniting a fire that had long been dormant. Their kiss, initially tender, grew feverish, a blend of passion and uncertainty that engulfed them. The world outside vaporized as reality faded beyond their sensual cocoon. Ethan forgot the consequences, he lost himself in the sweetness of her lips, exploring depths of emotion he'd never anticipated. Chapter 4: The Morning After. When morning light filtered through the windows, illuminating the room in a soft glow, Ethan stirred. He blinked against the sunlight, memories crashing back with a rush of adrenaline. The reality of last night settled around him like a heavy fog, turning exhilaration into turmoil. Beside him lay Hannah, her hair spilling over the pillow like a gold halo, serene and breathtaking. For a moment, he hesitated, emotions storming within him, fear, guilt, desire. He slipped from the bed, desperate to collect his racing thoughts. What had they done? The thrill of last night diverged rapidly from a beautiful adventure into something gut-wrenchingly complex and dangerous. The reality of their situation began to settle, the consequences of their reckless decisions loomed large like dark storm clouds. The door clicked open, and before he could react, Cole stood there, eyes wide with confusion. He looked back and forth between the disheveled bed and the two of them, distant, heartbreaking echoes of a familiar bond shattering before them. Ethan. Chapter 5: Messy Revelations. The tension hung thick like a noose, choking out every ounce of air in the room. Cole's voice cut through Ethan's swirling emotions, freezing him in place. "Hannah, is it true?" Cole's voice was steadier than he expected, but the underlying rage crackled like electricity, a storm brewing and ready to unleash its fury. Ethan felt the urge to defend himself but realized he had no justification. "Cole, No," Cole interrupted, stepping further into the room, an incredulous look on his face. Anger flashed behind his eyes, sharp and cutting. "You two decided to play games, is that it?" "Cole, stop!" Hannah cried, throwing the sheets off her body, trying to ease the tension. "It was a mistake, but nothing. You had no right." Cole shouted, his voice rising, hurt mingling with betrayal. Ethan took a step forward, attempting to explain himself but found no words. Cole's fury enveloped him, holding him captive. "You've crossed a line, Ethan," he seethed, eyes searching for an explanation as if he could physically rip the truth from his brother. "Let me talk," Hannah pleaded, but the dam had already broken. "I trusted you both. I thought we were brothers, and you," Cole's voice cracked, a sound filled with despair. "Cole, please," Ethan's heart sank as he looked at his brother, anguish and regret clouding his vision. The guilt descended like a suffocating weight. "I never meant for this to happen, but you need to understand. I didn't plan." But Cole's hand shot forward, cutting Ethan off. "I can't believe you both would betray our bond like this for a moment of thrill. You think love doesn't matter?" Chapter 6: The Fallout. After the explosive confrontation, the estate felt like a ghost town. With Cole refusing to speak to either of them, Ethan and Hannah found themselves alone, weighed down by decisions spiraling out of control. Guilt clawed at Ethan's insides, twisting him into someone he didn't recognize. "I didn't want this," he said, running a hand through his hair in frustration. "Neither did I," Hannah whispered, tears shimmering in her eyes. "But it felt so right in the moment." And now? Ethan asked, voice tight. Now it feels like we've just ruined our lives, she replied, sorrow coloring her words. Ethan's heart raced, but as he watched Hannah's distraught expression, he felt a surge of protectiveness. He stepped closer, trying to bridge the emotional gap between them. I care about you, Hannah. I never meant to hurt Cole, but those feelings, they're real. Ethan, don't, she warned, her voice a fragile whisper. We can't think about what this means. We'll only hurt Cole more. But even as she spoke those words, dreams they had whispered under the stars resurfaced, the sense of belonging, an unexplainable connection. For the first time in his life, Ethan found someone who resonated with parts of him he didn't know existed. Maybe we have to be honest, he said, searching her gaze, desperate to maintain the bond that grew stronger each moment they stood together. Honesty? It'll shatter everything, she replied, shaking her head, but there was also a glimmer of defiance in her eyes. Isn't it worth knowing the truth instead of hiding? He took her hands. I can't forget how I felt with you, how I still feel. Hannah's breath caught as they locked eyes, the moment heavy with truth teetering on the edge of acceptance. Chapter 7, Tangled Hearts. As the days turned into a week, the realization of their undeniable connection gnawed at Ethan. The rift between the brothers widened, and though he longed for reconciliation, the weight of betrayal hung over them like a storm cloud. In hushed conversations and stolen moments, Ethan and Hannah grappled with their emotions. They shared laughter and tears, each filled with a bittersweet awareness of the gravity they carried. Do you think we can still fix it? Hannah asked one evening, her blue eyes reflecting what Ethan feared most. Maybe. But we have to face this head-on, he answered, clenching his fists. The battle between love and loyalty raged within him. One night, he caught Cole sitting on the porch, an empty bottle cradled in his hands. It was a moment of vulnerability. Ethan approached cautiously, unsure of how to breach the chasm that threatened to drown them both. Hey, Ethan began, sitting down beside him. Leave me alone, Cole said, staring into the fading horizon. Cole, I know I've messed up. But this isn't just about you and me, it's about Hannah too, Ethan pressed. Don't involve her, he replied sharply. You made your choice. Ethan clenched his jaw, frustration bubbling inside him. You're my brother, and I love you. But you need to realize there's something real between me and Hannah. Cole's expression hardened, and the pain of betrayal struck Ethan like a blow. You think I care about your feelings now? You crossed that line, Ethan. You've done irreversible damage. I didn't mean for it to happen. Ethan cried, the anguish in his chest spilling over. It just did. You should have known better. Cole shouted, standing abruptly. You're ruining everything. As silence hung in the air, Ethan felt his brother's anguish slice through the bonds that had once held them close. Chapter 8, Secrets Untold. Mornings morphed into sleepless nights rife with tension, complicated by the undeniable chemistry that crackled in the air between Ethan and Hannah. They found solace in each other, but a darkness lurked beneath every tender moment. As they wrestled with their feelings, the inevitable crash of reality loomed. Each interaction became a tightrope walk, riddled with unspoken words and suppressed remorse that tightened like a noose. One night, as rain pelted the windows, Hannah held Ethan close, sorrow staining her cheeks. What are we doing, Ethan? This isn't fair to Cole, and it doesn't feel right anymore. It feels right to me, he confessed, spinning decisions in his mind in desperate attempts to find a way out. I can't help how I feel for you. But I don't want to hurt Cole. I wish I could change things. You can't, Hannah's voice came out as a whisper, and the sorrow in her tone twisted like a knife. He's still my husband, Ethan. Pain and disappointment wrapped around his heart, squeezing tighter with every breath he took. "We're playing with fire, and I don't want to burn anyone," he murmured, shame washing over him in waves. As the days dragged on, their emotional connection began to bloom amidst the wreckage. They found moments to be together, little pieces of stolen joy encased dangerously within the shadows of heartbreak and betrayal. Chapter 9: The Return of Darkness. As the tension continued to build, just as it seemed they might find a way through the darkness, a blind corner loomed ahead. One fateful night, while Ethan and Hannah were locked in another intimate moment, the door burst open, and Cole stormed in, rage painted across his features. "Enough," he shouted, eyes blazing. "I don't want to hear it anymore." Ethan took a frantic step back, anger and fear surging to the surface. "Cole! What are you?" "Don't!" Cole interrupted, fists clenched at his sides. "All this sneaking around and pretending. This is a joke to you." "No. It's not a joke." Ethan shouted back, but guilt flared in the air like flames licking at the edges of their reality. "Is this what you wanted?" Cole shouted, voice trembling. "To steal everything from me? You've taken my life, Ethan. Do you understand that?" Ethan recoiled at the pain in his brother's eyes, feeling the weight of his choices pressing down on him. "It was never meant to be this way. We were brothers." Cole cried, breaking down, a tidal wave of emotions crashing around them. "You turned my life into a sham for a weekend getaway, and for what? For some thrill." "Stop it." Hannah interjected, stepping forward to face Cole. "This was never just about you. We didn't plan any of it, and it's tearing us apart." "You don't get to defend him." Cole spat back, pointing an accusatory finger. "You're as much to blame. You knew the risks." Cole's voice dropped as his breathing became ragged. "You've killed our bond over a fantasy. I lost you both." The pain cut deep, too harsh to ignore, and Ethan found himself at a crossroads. The aftermath of their deception began consuming him whole, love tangled in betrayal, friendship dissolving into dust. Chapter 10: When Secrets Consume. In the days following the confrontation, the silence between the brothers was deafening, a wedge driving deeper into the frayed seams of their relationship. The weight of betrayal suffocated Ethan, leaving him restless and tormented. Hannah too seemed different, her joy muted beneath layers of regret and heartache. The sanctuary they had created together felt haunted, suffused with uncertainty and fear of what lay in the future. One evening, while Ethan penned a letter to Cole filled with regret and longing for peace, the doorbell rang. Dread pulled in his stomach when he opened the door to find Stella, Cole's college sweetheart and a blast from the past. "Ethan, we need to talk," she said, a grave expression shrouding her features. "Stella? What's happened?" he asked, taking a step back as anxiety twisted within him. "It's about Cole," she said, voice trembling. "He's been drinking, and I think he's going down a dark path," she confessed, her eyes brimming with worry. "Drinking?" Ethan felt his chest tighten. "What do you mean, Stella?" "He's gone off the rails ever since, well, you know," she whispered, looking away, shadows of regret and pain shadowing her features. "I didn't mean to hurt him. It was a mistake." Ethan pressed his hands to his forehead, frustration boiling over. "Ethan, I came to warn you. He's calling people out, wanting to fight anyone who even mentions you," she confessed, her gaze locked onto him with fierce concern. Panic flooded Ethan's veins. "What do you want me to do?" "There's nothing I can say that will fix this." "Talk to him," Stella urged, desperation melting her normally composed demeanor. "Appeal to his brotherly instinct. Remind him of the good times you had together." Chapter 11: The Last Stand. In a desperate bid to save what was irreparably fraying, Ethan found himself at Cole's doorstep that evening. The weight of uncertainty hung with every step, each echo in his mind racing with fears of rejection. "Cole! Open the door," he shouted, his voice thick with emotion. The sound of a bottle crashing to the floor resounded from inside, accompanied by heavy footsteps. He could hear the unmistakable edge of rage, nearly tearing through his resolve. Finally, Cole's disheveled figure appeared in the doorway, his expression an unsettling blend of fury and pain. "What do you want?" "We need to talk." "I can't let this go on like this," Ethan said firmly, courage swelling within him despite the uncertainty. "What's left to say?" "You've already erased our bond, Ethan." "The bond isn't gone," Ethan pleaded, stepping closer to the threshold of Cole's broken home. "I love you, brother. I can't lose you because of this stupid mistake." "Love? You don't know what love is," Cole shouted, voice rising, emulating a storm that threatened to swallow them both. "You've traded it for a night of passion, and it's all gone." "I know. But I'm ready to own up to it, Cole," Ethan responded, heart racing. "I don't want to run. I want to be here for you." Cole's eyes flickered, a flash of uncertain pain beneath the anger. "You've shattered everything." Ethan stood tall, determination tightening his grip. "We can rebuild it. We just have to be honest." In that split second, a flicker of hope sparked in Cole's eyes, and Ethan felt it too, an almost palpable shift that hinted at renewal. "I know you're hurting, but so am I. Let's figure this out together," Ethan urged, his voice a fragile thread above the crashing waves of despair. Cole paused as the silence wrapped around them. The tension hung like a flickering candle nearing its end, leaving only shadows in its wake. "Fine," Cole said, voice low and cracked, "if we're going to talk, then there are a few truths we need to face." Chapter 12, The Fall. Days evolved into weeks as the brothers fought to reconnect, the gradual rebuilding littered with painful truths and emotional hurdles. Each revelation cut deep, but amidst the throes of uncertainty, amidst fractured loyalties, a brotherhood slowly began to mend. But the undercurrents of passion and betrayal remained, haunting the corners of their fragile reconciliation. Yet just as the brothers seemed to find footing, Hannah appeared at Ethan's doorstep one cold evening, breaths shuddering and eyes glistening with unshed tears. "Ethan, I can't do this anymore," she sobbed, the weight of loss and tension ripping through her voice. "I can't stand this secret, it's eating me alive." Her words shattered the fragile peace Ethan had fought so hard to maintain. "What do you mean?" He stepped closer, feeling the pull of anxiety gripped him. "You can't just walk away. It's too painful." "I love you, but I never wanted to hurt Cole," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "Being with you feels like a betrayal. And I won't be the reason for your ruin." "Please, don't say that," he murmured, desperately seeking a foothold in their world turned upside down. But Hannah shook her head, tears streaming. "You don't understand. I can't. The guilt is killing me. Wait. Please, just," he reached out, desperate to pull her back from the ledge she balanced on. But in those frantic moments of please, the door closed, sealing his heart once again. Chapter 13, The Reckoning. Days turned into sleepless nights as Ethan grappled with the void Hannah left behind, each breath echoing with the haunting melodies of unfulfilled love. Alone in the shadows of a fractured relationship with his brother, the chasm began widening. Cole seemed to emerge from his self-imposed exile, fighting past pain with his reservations. The conversations shifted to build understanding, a threadbare tapestry of brotherhood secure in raw honesty. But each pulse of laughter echoed empty, haunted by Hannah's absence. Just as Ethan began to find some solace in the brotherly reparations, an unexpected knock shattered the stillness of that fragile truce. When he opened the door, standing before him was Stella, fear enveloping her features. "Ethan, you need to come with me," she urged, urgency lacing her tone. "It's about Cole." What? Anxiety coiled deep within him as he took off in a sprint beside her. They reached Cole's apartment, where an unsettling tension hovered in the air, suffocating his heart. As they rushed inside, the sight that met him warped his reality, a crumpled figure lying on the floor, bottles strewn about, and darkness heavy around him. "Cole!" Ethan shouted, fear gripping him in a vice as he rushed to his brother's side. Chapter 14, The Depths of Darkness. Time felt suspended as Ethan knelt beside Cole, panic crashing through him. He reached for his brother's arm, feeling its coldness seep into the marrow of his bones. "Cole, wake up." Stella stood behind him, frantically dialing for help. "Ethan, I'll call for an ambulance." "Just stay with him." Ethan's heart raced as desperation clawed at him. "Cole, you've got to fight. You have so much to live for." His voice trembled, but the silence answered him harshly. The paramedics arrived, a flurry of activities surrounding them, but as they worked on Cole, the reality of their brokenness seeped into every fracture of Ethan's heart. Time melded together into a painful haze, twisting hope into despair with each passing moment. Hours stretched into perpetuity, the sterile hospital air thick with uncertainty, colliding emotions orbiting into the void as they awaited answers, the finality of life and the fragility of love all converging to unfold. "Ethan," Stella whispered. "Let him go if he doesn't pull through. You have to let him rest." "No," he protested, future fissures splitting through his resolve. "He's my brother. If he fights, we'll fight together." But deep down, fear rippled through him, an inkling that their unspoken truths, the pain, the betrayal lingering, had heightened the stakes into the abyss, intertwining the fates of 3 souls. Chapter 15, Choices Reborn. Finally, after what felt like an eternity of heartache, the doctor beckoned him into a dimly lit room. Cole lay unconscious, fragile and delicate, a whisper of who he once was. "He's stable," the doctor said, soothing tension shrouded in relief washed over Ethan. "But he needs time. And you need to be ready for the truth." "What do you mean?" Ethan demanded, eyes locked onto his brother's pale face. "You need to understand the complexities. The emotional turmoil may affect his recovery," the doctor explained. "Make peace with him, Ethan." With a nod, Ethan felt the heft of those words. He walked toward his brother, every step laden with memories filled with laughter, love, and loss. It all rushed over him in a tide of grief as he sat beside Cole, clutching his hand. "I'm sorry, Cole." "So sorry," he whispered, tears spilling over as the weight of secrets and betrayal bore heavy upon him. "We were so reckless, but I can't imagine life without you." Fragile breaths echoed in the stillness as Ethan leaned over, willing his brother to hear him. The days stretched into a painful limbo until finally, Cole began to awaken, a flicker of light in the darkness. "Ethan," he croaked, his voice croaking as if sandpaper rubbed against his throat. "I'm here," Ethan said, a flood of relief washing over him, battling through shadows. I thought you didn't care anymore," Cole whispered, eyes glistening with vulnerability. "I care, Cole. More than you know." He took a deep breath, bracing himself for the next words. "And I'm sorry for everything. I wish we could go back before it all fell apart." "Can we?" Cole asked, his voice cracking, pain still lacing through the thread of brotherhood. "Maybe," Ethan responded, heart pounding as he tried to build the bridge of broken trust again. "We'll find a way. You and me, together."